What's up, guys, and welcome to the DC vs. Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Uz, aka Uzi Man Diaz, and as you can see, I'm the DC fan here. And once again, welcome my boy Eds from.
Good guys, representing Wolverine today. Ed Reese on the Marvel side, the true side.
I was gonna say parts unknown, but just
everyone knows what side it is because everyone's on this side. Ain't no one on your side.
Yeah, exactly, man. So guys, we're trialing a new thing here. Everybody's at home, so we're just thinking let's do a Zoom kind of thing. We're gonna see how that goes. So there's gonna be the audio one there, which is obviously on our normal podcast platforms, but also the video stuff is gonna be on the Voltron Network channel, which will give you some kind of like ways to get there basically at the end of the show, man. So without further ado, bro, how you been doing?
I've been doing good, man. Bored out of my brain, working from home, getting by. So it's like literally the same thing week to week that you ask anybody, because nothing can change really, unless you take a new route when you go to walk to the shops or something.
That's exactly what it is. That is literally exactly what it is. Ours is slightly different because you got kids. Obviously, they still got their school stuff going on now, right?
Mm.
So you have to spend pretty much most of the time doing that. Well, my wife spends most of the time. I'm kind of just in the background, just messing around and stuff. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. There didn't seem to be a great deal going on. Do I dare ask, what have you been up to in the world of DC and Marvel right now?
The only comic book thing I did this week, it's going to be a feature on our list, is caught up to Harley Quinn. As a loyal listener, eventual viewer, Cameron wanted us to. So yeah, Harley Quinn has been caught up. Season 2, episode 3, I think we're on now.
Yeah. So that's the same. That's basically all I've done there as well. But I remember you saying like a while back, like there's a totally different feel to that Harley Quinn when it is when you're watching it in a group, right? Compared to when you're watching it kind of like, by yourself there.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I really, really felt that in these last kind of few episodes or whatever.
You didn't like any of them? Mr. Freeze one, you didn't like?
No, Mr. Freeze, that was the good one.
Yeah,
that was the good one because I think they've really captured that essence.
That's exactly what I want to say. I haven't seen an accurate representation of Mr. Freeze for a long time. Like, it was heartfelt. He still had the goofy comedy that they have in the show, but they did a good job of still capturing that heart of that character. And it made me think that, why have they not brought Mr. Freeze back to live action for a Batman movie? If they could do it justice, in a serious, dramatic, get a good dramatic actor to play him, and it's written well, that could be an amazing movie, because no other Batman villain are you really torn between, being on Batman's side and being on the villain side. But Mr. Freeze, you could literally be torn, because it is heartfelt. Like, you can't help but like his fight, what he's trying to achieve.
That is entirely true, man. But yeah, I like the way they kind of like played at it and stuff, where Harley Quinn was kind of like, oh, he's got a fetish for putting women in eyes. Right. And she wasn't kind of having it at the start, which is quite funny, man. But yeah, I mean, the thing is because we've already had the most definitive actor playing Mr. Freeze in live action already.
Oh, no, that don't count. No one remembers that. Come on, that was a joke from the start. Come on.
Yeah, that's why they don't. We're not going to see it anytime soon, man. But that is actually another topic that somebody's brought up in the listeners' comments, which we'll be kind of talking about there as well. Somebody actually sent us a message from a tweet and said, "What do you guys think about this?" So we'll talk about that in the listeners' comments, man.
Might have to get closer to your mic a little bit.
Am I a bit too?
A little far away.
A bit too quiet.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking down on my list here, right? So actually, the first thing on the list is the Harley Quinn review, man. So What did you think of these? So you caught up to season 1.
Yeah, I thought the problem is because I have the other podcast, Talking at the Movies, because there's always so many movies and shows to watch and catch up on, sometimes things can fall by the wayside and they pile up and you think that, oh, I finished watching that. And you think you finished it, but then it turns out I haven't. I thought that was Future Man. It turns out with Harley Quinn, I had like 3 episodes left that I hadn't seen. That I completely forgotten that I need to watch. So I ended up having like 6 episodes to catch up on. So it was a lot more fun for me.
Yeah.
So I liked it. It was it's crazy considering how much I hated the show when it started. And it makes me mad that why is there not a Marvel animated show that I can watch that's any good? We get the films right, we can't get the cartoons right.
I think the main thing is basically that for the producers of this show, there's nothing for them to lose, right? So they're kind of just like, you know what, we'll just make it, we'll put these characters in. If it works well, works well. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Marvel is a lot different, right? Because you've got that expectation as soon as you're creating something, number one. And also you've got that inbuilt audience. And we've said this so many times before, like, you know, there's people who are complaining because they couldn't, you know, their kids couldn't go and watch Deadpool because it was 15 or whatever. You're going to get that same kind of thing, you know?
They've experimented though. Like, what was the Black Widow ones? And there was the Punisher and they kind of tried to skirt closer to a little more edgy. And those weren't too bad, but the stories were just flat. It's just the writing. They're not engaging stories in their animated ones, which, they need to fix. With Disney Plus now, come on. Feige, give someone the role, Feige, to do animated like you have with the films, and let them just run reign on all the cartoons together. That's it. Come on.
I mean, who do you reckon could go and do that? I mean, if they're gonna have to go for a style, right? So if you look at all the DC stuff, it's got this kind of not so much Harley Quinn, but the other stuff.
It all looks kind of the same,
anime style, right? And obviously they've gone and they've headhunted certain people to do that kind of style there, right? So would they go for that kind of style, or would they have to go more for, I don't know what kind of style what do you reckon they'd go for?
Whoever makes or made Avatar Legend of Korra for Nickelodeon, whoever did that, get them to do this to Marvel, because that was awesome. The action was awesome. The animation was awesome. And they managed to deliver it frequently for the whole series of that. Yeah, dude, get that. I want that. I need that. Come on. Especially now that I'm sat at home doing nothing. Come on.
Yeah, that is the thing. We need something to come in and do that, man, because there's otherwise I'm going to spend most of the time watching webinars of stuff that, is
why would you do that? You've got Netflix. Would you put some webinars?
I don't know, man. The thing is that, we'll get this thing of like, okay, this pandemic is now, right? So what you've got to do is you've got to get this information, really like train yourself up more. And then when it stops, then you can hit the ground running, right? But sometimes you kind of
feel sharp.
Yeah. Sometimes you're kind of feeling like, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like you just want to, you want to kind of stay away from it. So because I watched a webinar today. It was the most depressing webinar I've ever seen in my life.
I was going to point out to the people at home, Uzi's a dentist in real life, in normal life. So, yeah, he's unenviable task of having to get into people's mouths when this is over.
Yeah, that is the thing. And that's the problem, because we're shut down and we can't do anything. We're just told you can't operate because you've got to go in somebody's mouth, and that's dangerous, and just sit at home and just wait until we call you, kind of thing.
God, you have to go to work with a hazmat suit when you're done.
Well, that you should see some of the stuff that is coming out that people are like putting on and things. It's crazy. Like people putting full on, like Back to the Future, when he's like, oh, I'm Darth Vader, and
yeah,
right. There's a company that has created something very similar to that, to where it's like the helmet is like huge, like literally comes over like this, and it's like, people weren't scared enough. So
it's true. People who don't like the dentist, once they walk into that room and just see you there, got oxygen tank on your back, take a seat. It's gonna be, especially for little kids, you get terrified.
Exactly. And the thing is, the funny thing is you're just protecting yourself. They're like unprotected, right? You're just protecting yourself with the hazmat suit.
Should have brushed their teeth more. Therefore,
that is true. That is true. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, the kind of style of Harley Quinn there is a very unique kind of style, and I think it has been quite popular, and they're already looking at, okay, we've got season 2, we're already looking at season 3 that is coming through. It seems to be influencing the live action there as well. Kathy Ann is saying, that she wants Poison Ivy in there, and they want to bring this kind of relationship to the...
Yeah, I heard that the actress saying that they're going to get more into the romance of the two, which is weird because what about Kite Man? I love Kite Man. You're just going to dash him to the side?
This is the thing. This is why I made this.
Keep moving.
I made this video like a while back, saying that I can't defend the way that the DCEU is like doing its stuff there now, and the reason being is that, okay, you've got this kind of like popular Harley Quinn character on anime, right?
Yeah.
And it looks not exactly, but very similar to the Harley Quinn that is on the screen, right? Kind of like when they had, the Ghostbusters cartoon and the live action, and there's a lot of ones where you've had kind of cartoons and live actions which have been similar, not the same, but similar, right? And what both of those IPs, they cross over, so you get the fans of the live action stuff watching the anime and vice versa, right? What I don't understand is why they just don't say, okay, these are two the same things, right? You like Harley Quinn, you want to see a little bit more of it, don't want the anime stuff, this kind of crazy, wacky stuff that you kind of like getting up to, and just say that, okay, these two things are linked together. The problem is there's like...
No, go on.
The problem is there's like no strategy there, right? So it's kind of like... Okay.
That's what I was going to say. It's like different teams that do the films and do these sort of animated TV things, and they just don't communicate with each other. And how hard is it? Just have a go-between in the middle.
Yeah, because then you just think, okay, well, do you know what? This is doing really well on TV, so let's go and bring this to live action. Because then you got that crossover of, suddenly them making more money from the live action. Because that Birds of Prey was a massive flop, man, like a huge flop in the cinema. Even though it wasn't horrendously bad as a film, but it was quite a flop kind of overall. So and it just generally strikes me as a bit weird. The first 2 episodes I thought of the second season were okay, but they didn't really keep that balance of just being stupidly funny and also at the same time having some kind of dramatic kind of bits.
They killed the penguin. They just killed him.
Yeah.
Penguin. Just dead. Just like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And in the most like silliest way possible as well. You know what I mean? So, guys, if you don't know, if you haven't seen the Harley Quinn there yet, basically the story kind of comes into this next field of no man's land, which is actually behind me. Where is it? It's in the middle there somewhere. But basically, no man's land, you have this, Joker causes plague, then it wrecks Gotham, and then afterwards you have this earthquake, and it wrecks Gotham even more. And then what happens is that the US annex Gotham, so it's not actually part of the US anymore.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy. And then you end up, Batman, they think he's died from the earthquake, right? But then they have all the villains, they're fighting over the territory. So you got Penguin, you got Two-Face, you got Victor Zsasz, they're all kind of fighting Black Mask. They're all fighting over the different areas, right? And this is kind of what they put into the new kind of Harley Quinn kind of thing. But also with her, a motley crew trying to get and, kind of rule that kind of roost there at the same time. So as a DC fan, that's interesting because you get to see the No Man's Land stuff, which you haven't really kind of seen. But also at the same time, it was like, I don't think they marked that balance as well off the crazy comedy with that dramatic action until you got to episode 3, which is the Mr. Freeze one, which I thought was pretty cool. So I was quite disappointed by the first 2 episodes. And then after that, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's kind of picked
She
up.
didn't like seeing Barbara Gordon.
No.
That girl.
No. I just thought the whole, even the second one, which was like, what's it called, when they went to university and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a bit like, okay, I was a little bit interested, then I kind of switched off a bit, and then watched a little bit, and then switched off a bit, and I was thinking, there's nothing really here to like, keep my interest going throughout the entire thing. You know what I mean?
So about Clayface posing as a college girl, you didn't like that? What? That was good. I did like that. That made me laugh.
That was good. I love the way actually that they're focusing on this thing. The fact that Clayface was this like actor, like this failed actor. I just that,
and you can't switch it off either.
Yeah, exactly. It is really cool the way that they've like stuck to that. They've stuck to that and been like, he's a failed actor. Everything he does is this stupid kind of acting, and I find that aspect of it quite quite good. The other guys though, I mean, the thing is like King Shark is starting to become a bit annoying there for me. He's not like, he doesn't got that level of comedy like he was.
Yeah, he hasn't had much to do.
And he's just basically like he's just like a dumb character who kind of just says kind of dumb things and then realizes afterwards that, oh, this has happened or that has happened, and I didn't really like that a great deal. But otherwise it's decent. I wouldn't say it's like the best thing that I've ever seen. But one of the good things that they've done here, which is a huge mistake that they did in Young Justice in series 3, is they've kept kind of like kept the kind of scheme of the story quite narrow, right? Yeah. So in Young Justice, it's this huge, expansive, ridiculous story, and if you miss one episode, you're in trouble. You the whole season is done. With this, you can kind of jump in and out, and it's because it's fairly light. It's not not a huge issue. It's the thing I like about it.
Yeah. So far, thumbs up for me. Can't believe I'm actually into this. Not just the fact that I hated it when it started, but also, it's a DC show that I'm actually into, which disgusts me personally. I find it hard to look into the mirror, but I may do.
Yeah. So we'll definitely keep watching those more. So I think it was Kamran, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let us. Obviously, you said have you been watching it? Let us know what you thought about it, what you liked about it, didn't like it. All you other guys, let us know there as well, and it will be interesting to kind of find your kind of views about that there as well, man. So let me just check my mission. We've got onto the next topic. So we were saying in the previous podcast about all these actors, and they're coming on podcasts all the time because they've got nothing else to do now, right?
Yeah.
So Grant Gustin, he came on a podcast. He's talking about the CW, right, and basically how he's turned down quite a few roles, movie roles, big movie roles, in order to keep doing the Flash, right? And he was saying the reason for this is because working on TV is literally like 10 times worse than working on a movie. You're in there day in, day out, every single day.
Plus on CW, they have those long seasons, 20-something episodes. So whatever, they probably only have like 3-4 months off. He probably really wants to relax in that time, spend time with his family. He's not from Canada, is he?
No.
So they shoot them up in there in Canada a lot of the time,
Vancouver,
innit? Yeah. So he probably wants to go back to the States, visit the cousins and the parents and all of that. Yeah, I don't know. Damn, that's a shame. It's always the case with CW actors. You never really see them balance movies and the TV stuff.
No,
it's just too long.
Even though they've kind of been, they've been put. People take their faces and then put them into different other things. Like, I think Jensen Ackles is his name.
I was about to mention him. He should have had a movie career. Yeah. Could have been Hawkeye, but he turned it down. But dude, he should have been a movie star.
Yeah, exactly. He can act, looks like a movie star. Now he's going on that slightly kind of wrong side of like, he's like late 30s, I think, isn't he? Or he's kind of on that wrong side.
Yeah, he's on that. Yeah.
So it's very difficult for him to get into those kind of roles that he could have had. But the Grant Gustin thing is interesting for me because he's now pretty much typecast as a Flash, right? You couldn't really imagine him being in anything else. So I decided I kind of went down a rabbit hole to try and find out, like, how worthwhile is it for him to be in this? So I went to try and find out how much does he earn, stuff like that. And it's quite interesting because I kind of found that his earnings, right? He's earning like $100,000 an episode, right? Which is quite good. But then obviously when you look at Friends,
it's not sitcom. It's not sitcom big, but them the millions of people that watch those, man, it's a whole nother level of audience for those shows.
Yeah, so I'm thinking over the season he's making $1 million or a couple of $1 million, I guess, if you've got 20 odd episodes or whatever. And the kind of toll that it's taking on him. He's now typecast in this role, so he can't really move to anything else. After this, it's going to be like, okay, if you see him in something, it's like I watched a film a couple of weeks back with the guy Brendan Thwaites, I think his surname, who's Dick Grayson in Titans. He's playing this cop in this film, and basically what it is one of his friends accidentally kills somebody, right, and he helps him cover it up. And it's a decent enough role, but all the while when you're watching it, you're thinking this is Robin, right, or Dick Grayson or whatever, right, and it's very difficult to kind of do that. So
that's what I thought. Have you seen Code 8?
Yeah, with Amel and his
and the cousin. That's exactly what I was thinking while watching that. Like, as enjoyable. I actually thought the movie wasn't actually that bad, but I just kept seeing Green Arrow and whatever the other character he was playing, his cousin. It's just you just can't get that out of their head.
That's the thing. That's as soon as they're typecast in that role, that's it. It's just like good night basically. And the problem is, you get something like The Flash, right? And, Deborah Ann Woll said the same kind of thing. Once she's there, it's like, okay, can you get into anything else there afterwards? It's going to be extremely difficult for him to get into anything else. But the thing that interested me about the fact that, they make $100,000 an episode is then I went down another rabbit hole to try and find out how many people watch these things, right? So the Flash is between 1.1 and 1.4 million views per episode, right? Okay, so, and this guy's making $100,000 an episode, right? I'm just kind of thinking to myself, how can this show make any money, right? It's got to be advertising.
That's what our trigger is from because I'm also a wrestling fan. That's how they make their money, because they only get from like 2 to 3 million per episode, but it's those people watching the adverts that are targeted towards them, and they own all the advertising, so that's how they can make up all that money. So
2 to 3 million an episode.
Yeah, it ain't like it used to be. It was all like 10, 15 million back in the day.
I remember back in, when was it, 1988 or 89, right? My parents basically took us down to SummerSlam in Wembley. Right?
Oh shit, you were there, British Bulldog. Yeah,
British Bulldog, and we were cheering for Hitman.
Boo, traitor! How could you?
We were cheering for them. But yeah, the funny thing was that at that time there was all the stuff kind of on the TV when they were like promoting it and stuff like that, and the stuff was like they were saying like 600 million people tune in each week to watch this stuff, and they were saying like it goes all the way from India to the US and all.
India's massive still, even now, still crazy. But
like,
the 1-2 million is just in America, but still, yeah.
But like from there to there is that's a huge drop, man. That's a crazy drop. So yeah, that is super interesting. But it's weird when you kind of think this guy is making this amount of money, and it's like nobody's really watching that show. You know what I mean? So it's just a weird one, man. So let me just see. This is the problem, right? Basically, when we're doing this on the pod, and I'm looking at my notes, nobody's gonna know, right? But now everybody is.
Oh yeah, you can see you always looking down.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Just have them next to the camera on the side.
Should do, yeah. Just put it up like this. So yeah. I basically, there's been an interesting thing that's been going on because Marvel, in terms of the actual comic book world, has been slowly increasing its market share over time, right? And it's been an interesting thing because a lot of the time there you kind of think, okay, it's you know, DC has been the thing that is, you know, has been climbing, has got all the, you think of all the recent comic books that have come out, the comic book arcs, then you're thinking about, you know, Deceased and Batman Who Laughs and, you know, Doomsday Clock and stuff like that. Those are the things that come to mind. Whereas the Marvel stuff doesn't quite come to mind, but their market share has been increasing over time, right? And for the last week, their biggest selling book that they've had has been Spider-Woman, right? And it's kind of like everybody's like, kind of like, what the hell? Why is this book selling so much? It's a kind of like, you know, I think it's number 11 now. So it's kind of like, it's like a new series that has been going on, right? And it's becoming increasingly popular. Now, in the top 10 of all the comic books that have been sold, 7 of the top 10 are Marvel ones, right? So you got Spider-Woman, you got Thor, you got X-Men, no Captain Marvel there. And then the only two, there's an IDW comic book, which I can't remember what it is, which is in there as well. And the only 2 DC ones in there are Batman. And Detective Comics, right? Both Batman.
Which is basically Batman as well, yeah.
Basically Batman and Batman. So it just strikes me as interesting because what's going to happen is, right? Obviously, they're going to be seeing, oh, wait a second, this is popular, right? So, you know, do we now go and try and make a feature film version of this or whatever to capitalize on the fact that it is like so popular? You know?
Well, Marvel's not going to be thinking that. Sony's going, because they have to own the rights to Spider-Woman, isn't it? She has to be under that.
So this is what I checked this. Spider-Woman rights are owned by Marvel. They're not owned by Sony.
Interesting. Oh.
Right. So basically, Sony does not have any right to the Spider-Woman.
I guess technically, she isn't really connected to Spider-Man. It's mainly like with Shield and all of that stuff and the Scrolls. Yeah, it makes sense. I guess.
Yeah. So then, at that point, are they thinking, okay, wait a second, we're looking for a character that is not really massively linked to anything, because you know Marvel likes to do this thing when they get these characters who maybe not so known, and then they go and input it in their main universe, you know, to get people to like it and stuff. I don't know how do you think the general public will respond to a Spider-Woman kind of thing?
I think at first it may be a little confusing because you hear Spider, you think of Spider-Man, and this is like its own little separate thing, but it's still Marvel. And I think, because look, they did it with Ant-Man. People love Ant-Man now. They did it with Guardians. They love Guardians now. So, you know, they'll kill it. And they need to rebuild this whole new Avengers thing anyway. So I think she's an interesting character as well. So I'm actually surprised it's taken them so long. And I expected they would have done like something, a limited show for Disney Plus, but I'm hoping they could do this for the big screen. So give me Spider-Woman Marvel.
You just need some content right now, right?
Anything. I need something. There's only so many times I can rewatch the movies. Come on.
Okay, well, we're flipping back to DC. There is some content there for you if you really do want to watch it. And basically, this we've had some new Stargirl photos that have come out there over the last day.
Are you looking forward to this?
No, I'll tell you why. Because to me, all the photos that have come out from the beginning have made it look very much like a CW show. Now, all the ones that came out yesterday are all like basically like pictures of high school. So you just got one where it's like, oh yeah, you know, a shot from Stargirl, and you think, okay, we're going to see some cool stuff. It's basically three blokes with like, you know, college tops on and stuff.
The Letterman jackets.
You know, with the university, those jackets.
The Letterman jackets, yeah.
Just sitting around. Another one is a picture of a whole load of students sitting in a class. And it's like, well, this is kind of being a bit like their other shows, the Riverdale and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I think that's the template, Riverdale.
Yeah.
And Sabrina, that sort of teenage superhero thing.
Yeah, it seems to be the kind of audience that they're going for. So it's brought my level from, I'm going to put my hand here because actually you can't see it where it's actually meant to be. But it's kind of brought it like down and down and down, because I'm kind of thinking, there's two things. There's two things that make me, dampen my enthusiasm for something. One of them is a CW, and the second one is Greg Berlanti, right? So as soon as you mention those two names in conjunction, you've increased my want to watch anything like this. Even though I do think some of the characters are cool, the Injustice League are going to be in this potentially. You've got you've got Owlman, you've got Stripe, all these kind of things. Stargirl's a cool enough character. I just kind of think, I really want to watch this because it's just gonna be a waste of my freaking time, to be honest.
In defense, if they can lean a little more onto the Riverdale, Sabrina side of things rather than the other CW shows, then it could be watchable and it could be enjoyable. Guys, let us know. Are we being too harsh? Should we be more optimistic for this? Because
you know what? Whenever I cuss CW, we always get stuff on the Facebook pages, comments. Oh, why are you saying this? I get so many accusations. Oh, you're not a DC fan. I mean, mate, seriously, come on now, right? And it's like, oh, DC fans always complaining, oh, you don't get any content, and then they bring you content, and you go, yeah, but bring us some
good
content. You know what I mean?
Good content.
And that is one of the topics that we will be talking about a bit later on, because somebody messaged us about it, which I thought was quite interesting. So we'll move on to the Marvel release dates, man, which I'm actually going to have to go and look up there again, because you got Spider-Man 3, Venom 2, Doctor Strange 2 are all changing all of their dates there now, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of made it that basically Doctor Strange, I guess, is going to be the kind of end of the Phase 4 kind of situation that they're releasing. And there's been a lot of kind of like cryptic comments from different people about whether certain characters are going to appear in certain things and things like that. So, Tom Holland has said some stuff on his social media about Spider-Man and how he does, how it's kind of up in the air. He doesn't know anything about the dates and stuff like that. But then the guy who, in Homecoming, can you remember there was a guy who, I can't remember what his name is, but he's also in Better Call Saul. But he was kind of going to, he sees Vulture when they go into the prison, and is kind of thought he's going to become Scorpion. He's like gang kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he was basically saying like, oh, about Spider-Man 3, that there's this stuff that is going on and he can't confirm or deny that he's going to be coming back in the show, but anything can happen, blah blah, which I guess is maybe a tacit confirmation that he may be coming back as a Scorpion in the
I don't know if it'll be in the Spider-Man movie. They're still talking about doing the Sinister Six. That's where it would make sense for him to come back, because he'd be one of them potentially. But Spider-Man 3, I don't know if they're going to put Sinister Six in that. Knowing
Sony, I'm going to put it out there right now that I know exactly what the plot is going to be of Spider-Man 3 before I can, before anything's gone on, right? Okay, so you've got Spider-Man. He's now become public enemy number one. They think he killed Mysterio. Mm-hmm. So what are they going to do? They're going to turn to their own people, in their kind of universe and say, do you know what? We need to have our own thing to tackle this threat. What can we do? Kind of like the Suicide
Squad. Yeah. Oh, it makes sense. I was about to just say no, that could never happen, but no, it does make sense.
Yeah. So what do we do? Oh, we turn to the guy who can make the technology to go and face. What they'll do is they'll play it like this: Mysterio had all of this technology, blah blah blah, and Spider-Man still defeated him. And then you have Norman Osborn, and he's like, yeah, I can make even better technology to defeat Spider-Man. He goes, yeah, but I need a crew. So I need to have Rhino, I need to have Vulture, I need to have, Scorpion. All of these guys go together, and they're all going to combine and form the Sinister Six, and they're going to go against Spider-Man. And that's going to be the plot of Spider-Man 3. That is because Sony's always 5 years behind in their plots, right?
I do.
So they probably think.
The thing is, Marvel will still produce it though. So the script is still going to go through Marvel, so it could work.
It will go through them, but they only have certain approval on certain things, so they can't really say to them, oh, you can't make this. It's just basically going to be like they can't refer to certain characters they're in there explicitly without the kind of Marvel permission. So
but quality control will be still Feige though with Spider-Man. So that's the optimistic thing I've got.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the thing is though, when you look at the Sony scripts they follow a particular platform. And I kind of was looking at this and thinking, what is the reason for this, right? And then I was thinking, okay, is the reason for this because a lot of the Sony stuff is targeted at foreign markets, right? And what you need for that is a more simplistic storyline that doesn't really go too involved and then focuses more on the action part, because that's the thing that everybody can kind of understand.
I think you're overthinking it. I just think Sony are bad at making movies. Straight as that. They just don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing they have some idea, but then it's kind of like the execution of it is, if you watch a Sony film, you can name probably 5 other films that you've seen in the past that are exactly the same plot as that Sony film that you're kind of seeing, right? So, that's what I reckon is going to be.
Yeah. Keep in mind, people, talking about Sony in general, not the Spider-Man movies, because I did like those, Homecoming and then that. But yeah, it's just the regular Sony stuff. Venom started okay, then it just went to
Yeah, so there's keeping with Marvel, there's a couple of showrunners, right? Who called, I'm going to ruin this guy's name now. One of the guys called Lightfoot. The other one is called zbyszewski, ZBYSZWSKI, right? And these guys,
Polish guy.
Polish guy, basically. These guys were the showrunners for Marvel stuff, Marvel Netflix stuff. So Lightfoot was the guy who did Punisher. And the other guy there was basically like part of the team who did Daredevil, and both of those were given contracts to create shows on Hulu, right? And the guy, I'm just going to refer to him as the Polish guy. Sorry if that's offensive, but I can't pronounce his name. But basically, he's already created a show there for the Hulu network, and he's going to be finishing that. However, the Disney have cancelled both of their contracts. So they're now saying to them, look, we can't, say that you can produce anything there for us, right? And I went down and I was reading through like comments and stuff about why, potentially this might have happened. And one of them kind of like stood out to me that these guys are not contractually obliged to stay with Disney, right? So what a lot of these guys do is basically they'll have a contract with Disney, and they'll not only create one show, but they'll be involved in multiple other ones, right? And it means that Disney can keep everything in house. So these guys are a separate kind of production entity. You're
hired guns, basically.
Yeah, you're paying money out of your system to go into somebody else, and obviously Disney are like, sod that, we need all of our money coming into our stuff. You know what I mean? So they've let those go, which I guess means no Punisher for the time being. They're the Ghost Rider, obviously that other guy was working on that one. So we're looking at more kind of the PG-13 era kind of stuff on the Disney Plus rather than Hulu stuff.
What's the deal with Hulu, man? Like, is it ever going to come to the UK? How are they going to... It's annoying that it's a separate thing.
The problem with this is, what happens in the UK, and for you guys who are not from here, whenever we get a show that comes from anywhere that has become quite famous, basically we have Sky TV in the UK, and they'll pick it up. And you'll be forced to subscribe to Sky to get this one show. And it
annoys the hell out of me. Like, why do we not just have HBO Go or whatever it's called now? HBO Max or whatever.
HBO Max, yeah.
Like, I want that so I can just watch all the awesome HBO shows. I don't want to have to friggin' waste money on Sky or Now TV and that crap. I hate that. What's The Sopranos again?
These guys are clever because they've got this thing. They love creating packages, right? So it's like, okay, you get their mobile phone, you get their broadband, you get their TV package, and they give you a discount on kind of everything. And that's what Sky has kind of cornered, and they want everybody to keep doing that, which kind of sucks to be honest. But you know, there are means and ways of watching the stuff there anyway.
Yeah.
I guess HBO Max is the only time I'd ever get HBO Max is if the Snyder Cut comes on it, and I just at the trial. I'll get the trial, I'll watch it, and then it'll be done. It'll be finished from then, because I ain't staying around for Green Lantern, man. You know what I mean? So, Tom Hardy. Speaking with Marvel there again, Tom Hardy deleted an Instagram post where he basically put up a picture of Venom, and in Venom there's Spider-Man's body, and it's being torn apart, it's bleeding like crazy, and it is the Tom Holland suit, Spider-Man, and it says, and underneath he's written, Peter Parker didn't stand a chance, right? So this stayed up for about an hour, and then he took it down, right? And then these other bloggers, obviously, they screenshotted it, put it on their own Twitters and all this kind of stuff, right? And now it's obviously got everybody talking. Wait a second, is Spider-Man in this? Is he not in this? Is Venom?
I think he's just bragging because he's the Venom guy. He wants to say that, you know, Mark, you know that how The Rock is boasting about Black Adam being tougher than everybody, tougher than Justice League, tougher than Superman. Maybe he's just trying to do the same thing. Maybe, yeah, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a post-credit thing with Spider-Man somehow, some way. I thought he was actually going to be in the main film, though.
Yeah, I think maybe if it's going to be in the third one, because the second one is going to be Carnage heavy, and then obviously the third one is going to be Spider-Man, possibly, potentially.
If Holland sticks around, they don't really know. There could be this one movie left. We don't know.
Exactly. Or if Venom appears in the end of Spider-Man 3 kind of thing, or something like that. I guess they're on other sides of the United States, San Francisco and New York. So they'd have to be a major event for them to kind of cross paths.
Spider-Man may be on the run, though, isn't it now? So he could end up over there. True. He could end up there.
That is true. That would be the interesting thing, man. So this is just Marvel heavy, man. This whole thing is crazy Marvel heavy right now. So Chris Hemsworth, did you see what he was saying on his Insta about Taika Waititi's script for Thor?
Something saying that it was amazing. He loved it.
He's like, it's amazing. He loved it, and he goes, it's basically Taika at his absolute craziest, like the absolute kind of maddest.
Yeah.
Think of a Taika Waititi film, such as, you know, What We Did in the Shadows.
Love it.
Exactly, stuff like that. And you think, or Jojo Rabbit, or etc. And you think him going to that and then kind of, you know, going more nuts about it. That's kind of what it's going to be. So if you're right now, if you're buying a Thor comic book and you're thinking, right, okay, yeah, I can't wait to see this, you're going to be sadly mistaken. There's nothing like that. But if you're a Taika Waititi fan, then this is going to be him kind of on acid, basically.
Yeah, it's just Ragnarok times 10. That's what it's going to be. It's cranked up, more rock and roll, more crazy jokes. I'm in for it. I'm down. I ain't worried. I have faith. Come on, Uz, have faith with me. I know you want to hate deep down, but come on, have faith with me.
Do you know the one thing about Ragnarok? You had to be in a certain mood to watch that, right? So
awake.
You had to be awake. Yeah, you had to be in a certain mood, because sometimes I'm in a really cynical mood, right? And I'm kind of just like, oh God, what is this joke? And sometimes I'm watching stuff and I'm kind of like, that's quite funny. And you have to be in that kind of like silly kind of like mode to be thinking, okay, this is quite jokey.
Because you have no joy in your heart, Uz. That's the problem. Your heart's just shriveled, just pain.
This is the thing. That's the thing. That is the thing. If you're a Batman fan, that's what happens to you. You're basically just like anger and rage and continuous, you know. So yeah, that is a thing. But it will be interesting to see the route that they go down. I think so far, I mean, I've seen a little bit of this creeping into Marvel, but they've kind of slightly kept away from this, the political trend that we've got going on there at the moment. And that has been interesting, because I don't know if you've seen, but there's been this big kind of thing about this game called The Last of Us. And there was The Last of Us 2 came out, somebody leaked the whole plot. They don't know if it's a disgruntled employee or something like that. And as soon as they leaked it, the pre-orders like basically shot down by 50%. Because people were like, they didn't like the plot, because the plot seemed very, and I hate using this word, but very woke, you know, kind of thing. And I think that is the fashion there at the moment, to do that. And Marvel seems to be keeping itself away from that. And I would kind of hope that they kept that spirit, you know.
I think Brie Larson has her way. That won't be the case.
Do you know what? This is the thing. And this is probably going to sound a little bit rude, but I think that people are over-egging how much power some of these actors and actresses have, right? Because for me, it's kind of like when I look at Marvel, okay, and, you know, however much stuff that I say disagreement about Marvel, there are some things that they do really, really well. And one of the things that they do well is they have this business structure, have a hierarchy, and it's kind of like the WWE. Like, nobody's higher up than Vince McMahon. You want to, you know, think you're the greatest, you know, whatever. If you start acting around and Vince doesn't like it, you're done. You're finished. You get it, right? And it's the same kind of thing with this. Like, you know, I think Feige kind of lets them have a certain degree of like, oh yeah, you can have a little talk here and there. You can have your little power. You know, you can say, oh yeah, I'm doing this empowerment and blah blah blah. But it's like these guys pay the bills, and they want them to kind of. They can allow them to talk until a certain level, and then after that, it's like, forget it. You know, even when people are talking about at certain levels, you know, you've got like James Gunn and, you know, Scott Derrickson and stuff like that, and you kind of like, you've got the Russos who towed the line, right? And you've got people like Scott Derrickson and James Gunn who are kind of like not, and they're just like, you know what, sod you guys, you know, we can still do okay. And then James Gunn, obviously, they're bringing back in because he's a very kind of popular director and stuff. I think the same thing with this is like, they're going to let them go to a certain level. But if the next Captain Marvel doesn't make $1 billion, I don't think it will, because it was only because everybody wanted to see the link to Endgame.
It was new, yeah.
Right? Then at that point there, I think it's going to be like, okay, we're going to have to tail you off a little bit. And you know, they can say whatever they like. At the end of the day, it's like the power of the business is the thing that overpowers everything else, you know?
Yeah, she can be replaced. Captain Marvel gone, Spider-Woman in.
Yeah, unlike DC that are hanging on to Amber Heard like this, I don't know why. Literally,
can't they see
and it's like,
that this is like a PR nightmare for them, that they aren't willing to just say, bye, gone, get. Like, what do they think? Why are they so desperate? It ain't like she's an amazing actress or anything.
This is the thing. I think they're hanging on to this thing, you know, because we're from Europe, right? We kind of got this very different kind of thought process in regards to stuff. And we can see something that, say, for example, a political leader has said, and you kind of look at it and you're like, what the hell? This is stupid. But then you'll get people defending the most dumbest statements ever. You still got people saying, oh yeah, but you know, you still got to defend Amber Heard over Johnny Depp because even though this is true, actually overall it was as a result of the fact that, you know, he was beating her, that she retaliated, and, you know.
But she admitted that was bull. She said it in the audio transcripts, in the tapes.
But then have you seen the comments that people put about this? Like, oh, taken out of context, you know, blah blah, kind of rubbish. So you know, I can kind of see the way that this goes. And for them, if DC kind of cut her off, then what will happen is you'll have this big sector, which is the big kind of the people who talk a lot on Twitter and stuff like that. They'll be the ones who be like, oh, look, they've cut off an actress and blah, blah. And look, this is very typical, because DC's got this thing that a lot of their films are misogynist. From people have been taking different ways of looking at, say, Zack's cinematography and stuff like that, and saying, oh, this is misogynist. And then if they cut the actress off, then in some of these minds is that cognitive dissonance. It kind of like confirms that bias.
So they're willing to sacrifice Aquaman, one of their only succeeding properties in the DCU, because it could affect the next film completely.
It could do, and they could right now just put Emilia Clarke in, and nobody's going to bat an eyelid. If they did that right now.
So they're desperate to keep hold of Amber Heard, but they're willing to just let Henry Cavill just
run away, run on somewhere, man.
Play Witcher.
Exactly. Well, that is the thing that I wanted to talk about now, actually. So we know that Geoff Johns has come back, and he's going to be producing the Green Lantern series, right? So we've got that dream team of Geoff Johns and Greg Berlanti.
Wow.
The absolute dream team. And you know, the one of the other things that they were both together on was the Green Lantern film in 2000. That fantastic film there of me and Ash were having this kind of thing. We put this out back in the day when we were doing the cast. We're like, who would win in a fight? That parallax cloud that they had in Green Lantern, or the Galactus cloud in the Fantastic Four.
Like cloud versus cloud, the storm.
Yeah, exactly. So totally ruined that kind of film. But the reason why I found this interesting, right, is because if you go and you watch any kind of like, you know, people talk about DC Marvel on YouTube and all this kind of stuff, there's a lot of people like, yeah, Greg Johns has done this and he's done that, and he's hated at DC, he's hated at Warner Brothers, nobody likes him, you know, he's a disruptive influence, stuff like that. Okay, now if that and they get thousands of views of these kind of things, right? Basically what they're doing is they're parroting stuff that they see on Reddit, right? And they, you know, loads of views, they get it, it goes on. But the thing that makes me laugh is that basically, okay, why then would they get Geoff Johns to come back and work on the Green Lantern, you know, series, right? Because if he's such a disruptive influence, they hate his guts, they don't want him working for WB or DC or whatever, then, and they keep calling him back and saying, yeah, do this, right? Why would they do it? Why would they even bother if they've got a whole new kind of like a management team and all this kind of stuff, and Walter Hamada and Jim Lee and stuff like? Why would they bother?
It's weird. It's like at Warner Brothers. It's like they don't know anybody. They just keep calling the same. They're like it's like that person who has no friends that just always keeps calling the same 2 or 3 people over to hang out. It's always Greg Berlanti, Geoff Johns. It's always the same people over and over again.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that especially with Greg Berlanti, you've got this thing where he'll be like, oh, well, look at how popular the CW shows are, right? And they'll be like, yeah, they're really popular. Okay, why don't you do the Green Lantern stuff, right? And they target it to that kind of particular audience. I mean, it just, especially with the Geoff Johns stuff, it really does make me think that, you know, most of the stuff these bloggers are making up is bull, basically, right? They don't know anybody. They don't have any kind of like special insight into knowing, you know, particular sources or anything. They make it up. It's all bull, basically. And obviously he's in there. He's like producing. He's a very odd character, Geoff Johns, because Geoff Johns has made some of the best Green Lantern stuff out there. Like Sinestro War is one of my favorites. You know, you've got tons of ones that he's created which are awesome. Doomsday Clock, I don't know, but then he's created a lot of cool stuff. But then at the same time, it's like, well, he also is in a position where he's created some of the worst TV and movie stuff that has ever come out, right? And you kind of think to yourself, okay, well, this guy was behind a lot of the changes on the Justice League film. He was also behind the Green Lantern film there as well. And it's like, we're going to give him the keys to the kingdom on HBO Max. So what do you think about that? Do you think there's...
the logic just doesn't apply to how Warner Brothers handles DC. I honestly don't think they really care. I don't think they understand the value of the properties that they own. And it's just mad to me. It just baffles me.
Yeah, I think you're right, because you know, it's just, it really does strike me as like they either don't care, or they're in this kind of position where it's like, you know what, we've got these properties, they might work, they might not. We're going to get in the guy who knows a bit about it, and we'll just see how it goes. And it's like, there's no kind of thought in there that we've got this target of money or viewers or whatever. It's just like, we'll just make it, and maybe it will work, maybe it won't. It's just a very, very kind of odd situation, man. So let's go to the last bit of news that we have here, which actually also leads into a viewer's comment. So I'm just trying to go on here so I can find the guy's name. I don't want to get it wrong. Where is it? His name is Taylor Joshua, Dowland Taylor Joshua, right? So yeah, we got some messages there about a tweet, right? So somebody had put on a tweet that had said, I'm just kind of sick and tired of directors giving their own viewpoint on a character, right? For once, I want to see the true character that is in there. And then kind of like after that, whatever, then they can go and do their own takes and stuff like that. And that the reason why we were sent that is basically because I put on the Facebook page about Batwoman. Now, obviously, you haven't been watching Batwoman. So
I can't. I love myself too much. Go for it, man.
Did I spoil it for you?
Go for it.
Okay, so basically, Luke Fox he finds out that this guy who works for I can't remember what they're called, the Rent-A-Cop guys who are in Batwoman. He finds out one of them actually killed his father, Lucius Fox, right? So he goes crazy. He basically goes and he's just about to kill them in there, and Batwoman stops him, right? And Batwoman's like, look, if you go down that road, you can never come out of it, right? You're always going to be there. It's always going to be in the back of your mind. And Lucius Fox replies by saying, yeah, but you've been down that road because she killed somebody in the show, and also Bruce has been down that road there as well because Joker's been missing for 5 years. Where do you think he's gone? Whatever. So they've just shown in this show that Batman's a killer. He's killed Joker. Once again, this is the reason why this has kind of come up, because it's like, okay, I totally understand that, you've got different viewpoints and stuff. They want to do their own Batwoman. They want to do their own Lucius Fox. They want to do this. But it's kind of like, okay, you do that after the main thing has been done, right? After the main one's been done and the main character has been shown on screen, right? And you've shown the true character, then later on, okay, 10, 15 years down the line, you say, I'm doing my take on it. And it really made me think, like, you haven't actually seen a proper Bat Family film with the actual Batman on screen, right? With the actual proper, like, the closest we've got is the Arkham stuff, right? The closest we've got ever to that is the Arkham stuff.
Yeah, they seem to get it right with the games. 'Cause that's the thing, it's the balance of the character, the brooding, damaged individual Bruce, but he still has his moral core. And then there's the detective stuff. That's the main thing they always miss out, the whole detective. None of them have ever really been detectives. They need the live action ones.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like the essence of that character. So I'm just gonna go back to see what you said here, right? So he was saying, like, I respect a Batman who kills a psycho like Joker, brackets Tim Burton Batman, over a Batman who kills minor goons but brings Joker in alive, brackets Zack Snyder Batman. Arrowverse Superman, Tyler Hoechlin killed General Zod in this reality too. So he has actually killed General Zod, which is, bizarre. So basically, I was just saying to him, look, I don't think that's Batman. Batman's never been brought to life like on the screen, right? And the closest they've ever got is the Arkham series. And he says, I agree. One of the reasons I say Batman 66 and Mask of the Phantasm are the best theatrical Batman movies, because they're the best representations of their respective era.
66, seriously, that goofy ass Batman. You think that's a legit representation of Batman? Come on.
I think he was saying from their era, whatever that, the 60s, the goofy 60s. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing. We're going back and forth about this, right? So, his kind of final thing was that he thinks accepting some levels of the hero killing the worst of the worst can be reasoned, but he's really proud when they can pull off the super / psycho obsessed with saving people vibe that can have its own dark tragedy as well. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that?
I guess it's all down to interpretation, really. Like for me, I loved the Snyder version of Batman, but I did have an issue with him just murdering everybody just at any opportunity with no fault. If there was just a little bit of explanation there, just even just a line to say, a little bit of dialogue just to say that, he used to be on the straight and narrow, but he just doesn't give a damn anymore. Like if there was something, just a little bit to just explain it a bit more than what we got, then maybe I could go with it. But that's the closest for me.
That's the thing that I always say to people whenever I go on other people's live streams and all this kind of stuff about the Snyder Batman, and you've got these huge fans who are like, oh, you don't understand it. What I try and explain to them is this: you basically got this one shot, right? Okay, of a Robin suit, okay, and he's looking at it and it says on there, ha ha ha, basically because you killed Robin, right? Which basically means he failed and Robin was killed by the Joker, right? And that is meant to be the thing that has turned him
exactly
psycho crazy Batman.
A better scriptwriter would have explained that and given it to us in the movie, 100%. But they just couldn't be asked. They don't know how to tell stories. They just don't know what they're doing.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So you absolutely hit the nail on the head there, Eds. It's kind of like, when I look at it, I'm like, okay, yeah. So Robin got killed. This is why he turned into this way. Any other DC fan looks at it, it's the same kind of thing. Anybody who knows that comic book world would look at it. But, my dad would go in there, for example, and be like, what the hell is that? Why is Batman like killing everybody?
Exactly.
The average person goes in and is like, I can't understand what the hell is going on. It's absolutely freaking crazy. It's got this... did you ever see this rewrite that somebody did of BVS of the Lex Luthor version?
No.
It went crazy on Reddit. It absolutely. I'll just briefly kind of say about it. What it was it was a continuation of Man of Steel, right? So what happens is that the whole story is Lex Luthor focused, right? So you have Lex Luthor, and he's basically, you got Superman is down in the dumps because he's going and he's saving everybody, right? But what's happening is that you're getting all of this kind of press that is showing him. He goes and he basically goes to one place and he saves, like the Hoover Dam basically breaks, right? So he goes and he saves all the people there, stops them from getting killed, whatever. At the same time that is going on, there's a hurricane that is going on in Taiwan, right? And like 10,000 people die over there, right? And the press is like, Superman only gives a crap about Americans, right? He only gives a crap about these people, right? And these kind of things keep happening. Like he's going and it's like and then the whole point is like, basically he feels that like, I can't save everybody. I can't and it just gets him more and more down about it. And then he kind of thinks to himself, I'm getting so much bad press. Why do I even bother saving anybody, right? Because, one half is going to be saying I'm, they're in love with what I'm doing. Other half is going to be saying like, oh, I hate what you're doing, because you're saving only one group of people. Long story short, you basically find out that the Lex Luthor basically goes and he approaches Superman, right? And he's like, through Lois Lane, I want to speak to Superman. And he goes to him, look, let me control the press for you. I'll be the press for you, right? You go, we'll have these series of events, press conferences, all this kind of stuff. We'll kind of portray you as this great guy and things like that. And he believes it. He totally believes it from Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor manipulates him into wanting to go down this route. So he goes, he saves people, Lex manages everything. And, he ends up saving people and all seems to be good, right? But actually, you find out that Lex Luthor is this mastermind behind everything. And he's actually making this kind of like plane crash occur in one place. And he's making this other thing occur in another place. And he's manipulating, the seismic tremors to, make this earthquake in another place. And he's basically creating all of these things so he can manipulate Superman. And then Superman realizes, wait a second, he's manipulated me, and you realize that he's the villain that is underpinning absolutely everything, right? So yeah, and that is kind of a bit more Superman kind
yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably rather see that, to be honest.
But then you still have people that would have, because it sounds like that could go down the what was the the Superman, the Tim Roth, the Brandon Roth Superman, where he never really had a villain to fight.
Yes,
and it was unsatisfying because of that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I mean, this is one of the things I think Superman fans kind of overestimate how popular Superman is. I don't think he's actually as popular as they think.
Not anymore, no.
They're always like, oh yeah, you know, we want to see this, we want to see that. Monetarily, when you look how much money these films make with Superman in, they don't make that much money. You know, people aren't that interested in these films. They're more kind of like a nostalgia kind of thing. That, oh, you know, the Christopher Reeve stuff was awesome, and you know, we want to see it again. But not many people go and they flock to their thing.
But they haven't really made a great one yet, though. Man of Steel was good, but it could have been great, but it just needed a slightly bit more, few more screws onto that script.
I guess so, but then when you're looking at Man of Steel and you're thinking, okay, there's no bad press straight away, right? And you're thinking, okay, there hasn't been an amazing Superman for a long time. Whatever you say about it, the trailers to that were amazing. I remember the trailers for Man of Steel; they're absolutely awesome. But then you look at the opening day numbers, and it's like they don't match up because, you know, I think people who are huge fans of Superman overestimate how kind of famous he is. So we just go into one more kind of thing. So there's also I've put up a thing about Geoff Johns being confirmed to produce the upcoming Green Lantern. And there's some funny comments about this, man. So one guy called Jacob James says, screw him, he did all he could do to hurt the DC.
And he hasn't finished yet.
Yeah, he hasn't finished yet. But that's the thing. This is what I was saying there before. Like, I replied and I was like, I don't disagree, but we have no proof of that. Why would WB hire him again if this thing happens, right? So, you know, I don't disagree, but at the same time, it is.
I think, to be fair to him, I think the biggest issue is that when he's hired to do a job, how often is it that he's just left to do it? With Warner Brothers, I always suspect that there's always these producers and executives that always have to get their opinions in and add this, take this out, and that he's handcuffed to a degree, so he can't really tell the story that he wants to tell, unlike when he was, you know, doing the comic book stuff. I think that could be part of the issue.
Yeah,
too many cooks.
Definitely. So the last message that we have is about the new Green Lantern. So you seen this new Green Lantern? We've been quite Green Lantern heavy today. Have you heard about this new Green Lantern?
Oh, that's the one you showed me with the little granny.
Yeah. Okay. So the story of this is basically that you've got this guy. His name is Tam Fame, I think his name is, and basically he becomes Green Lantern. The Ring chooses him, and he ends up going up to Oa. And when he goes up to Oa, he sees John Stewart there. He sees this other Green Lantern who's like a queen of her sector and stuff like that. And they say John Stewart is like, oh yeah, your grandma was a Green Lantern before you, and she mentored him. She mentored John Stewart. This is the comedy, right? She mentored John Stewart. Then when he talks to this queen of that sector, whatever it is, she says, your grandmother was the greatest Green Lantern that ever lived, right? And obviously people were just like, what the hell?
Just out of the blue, no explanation.
Is this?
Is this like a new reboot of Green Lantern, or is this just slotted in?
Side kind of thing. So it's Green Lantern Legacy. So it's not really kind of like a canon story, but it's kind of like one of these things that what they do is they put them out there, they bring them out, they're kind of like alternate stories. And then what happens is that if they find a run, then they start like, you know, bringing more of them out. And the kind of, I was looking, so I read a little bit more about the backstory because we had a lot of messages about this. Have you seen this Green Lantern kind of stuff? And I was reading about it, and I was like, okay, what's the backstory of this new Green Lantern? What is the thing that has made her this this massive willpower kind of character, or whatever. And basically it says that she was an immigrant from Vietnam to Coast City in the US, and she really helped her neighbors out and stuff, and she became the Green Lantern. That's her backstory, basically, right? So I looked at that and I was like, the thing. I also did a video about this as well, because it kind of incensed me a little bit, because this is one thing that all these companies are doing there at the moment. They're trying to show like, oh, we're very progressive. We've got,
ethnic diversity in their heroes.
Yeah, but then I think to myself, okay, I was looking at a timeline, right? So she came in Coast City. It would have been like the 90s or whatever, okay? And this is like the falseness of this, right? They're showing, okay, ethnic diversity, whatever, but it's like, okay, the Green Lantern is the Green Lantern, the sector of the solar system, right? So okay, at that particular time, which is the 90s when she moved to the States, what else is going on? Well, we've got wars going on in Bosnia, we've got the Rwandan genocide, we've got people starving in Ethiopia, and it's like, wouldn't one of these guys, imagine a mother
make more sense? Yeah,
imagine
Plus,
a mother who's...
Why are there so many from Earth if they're all supposed to be of their sector? Why is they like all on top of each other?
It's crazy now, because you've got basically Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, Jessica Cruz, Carl Rayner, Guy Gardner.
Now this one.
And this one, yeah.
Tam. It's like, that's 7.
Kim Tran. Another one that they introduced there as well, Latino.
Was that Ray as well?
A while back there as well, which is a bit bizarre. I mean, Jessica Cruz is not quite really, because she was powering, and then she became Green Lantern. But Simon Baz was.
It's too many for one sector. It's too many. Come on, Earth ain't that. I know just cram's a little bit crazy, but it ain't that bad. Come on.
Well, that's the thing, and this is the way that a lot of these companies try and trick you to say, oh look, we're representing you. Really, what they're doing is, these two guys, their background is Asian, which over in the US means
East Asia.
Yeah. And basically they're like, okay, we want ourselves in comic books. They've written themselves in. It's got nothing to do with them, pushing diversity or anything like that. Because if they did, then there's so many other kind of characters they could have brought in that would have been much more deserving of having Green Lantern ring. But we got loads of messages saying, please check this out. What do you think about it? And that's what I think about it, guys.
Bit desperate. Yeah, silly.
It's reaching that stage, man. So anyway, guys, if you wanted to kind of give us any more messages about stuff that you've seen, you can always send us messages through the Facebook page, which is DC vs. Marvel Podcast. Go through the Instagram there as well, because I've noticed, we've got nearly 1,000 people on our Facebook page. Why don't we have this on the Instagram page? You guys need to be...
Yeah, needs to cross over. We need to promote more.
Okay. You need to be on that, right? So go onto the Instagram page. You can send messages there. Ed just runs that, so you'll be sending direct to him. And you can also go onto the YouTube, which is Ultra Network, which has got all of our stuff on there.
All the fear, the DC versus Marvel podcast right here. You got the Talking at the Movies podcast right here. You got Uz's Mad Little Rants. All that.
That's literally what it is, right? Mad Little Rants.
Yeah.
To be honest. I'm always like trying to do like different stuff on there. I've tried to kind of, put like I'm making some props and things at the moment that I make videos of, but that's a lot longer than me just going on and making little rants. So that's what's going on there at the moment. But yeah, we've so we've got all of that going on. You can also email us on dcbsmarvelpod at gmail.com there as well, and also check out all of the other podcasts there on the network there as well. So yeah, until then, guys, stay safe. Try not to cough on people, and keep it DC, right?
Marvel, follow your heart, people. Come on.
Until then, guys, we'll see you again next time.
Ah.